Oh hello, it's been some time since I've uploaded a video to YouTube. Let me explain why. Earlier this year, I was out at CES in Las Vegas for about a week, and then tomorrow I'm going back to Malaysia to celebrate Chinese New Year with my family. So over the past couple of weeks, I've been busy fulfilling the calibration request I've received from many owners who have purchased new televisions over the Black Friday or Christmas period. So I've basically calibrated 3 77-inch LG G7 OLEDs, a bunch of LG 2016 and 2017 OLED TVs, a few Sony A1 OLEDs, a couple of Panasonic EZ952 OLEDs, and also one Samsung Q8 QLED television. So basically, I've been busy being a professional calibrator. So I've been visiting these customers' houses. I put my reference grade equipment on their display, measure colors and contrast, and then adjust the settings so that the displays are aligned to the common standard that is used within the film and broadcast industry. This way, I can extract the best picture quality from these televisions and allow the owners to watch all types of content in the manner that is intended by the directors and the producers, and it will be a significantly superior viewing experience to whatever settings they're using before as well.
Nice speech.
Thanks.
Have you been practicing?
Just a bit, yeah.
Very convincing.
Which brings us to this video. So in this video, we are going to compare two Apple TV 4K boxes. One is the 32GB version and the other is the 64GB version, and I'm going to compare the 32GB versus the 64GB Apple TV 4K boxes and then let you know which one you should buy. On the surface, the packaging looks identical, but upon closer inspection, we find that the 32GB one is labeled 4K HDR 32GB with a model number of MQD22B/A, while the 64GB model is correctly labeled as 4K HDR 64GB, model number MP7P2B/A. As for the units themselves, they look exactly the same with a black finish and an Apple logo on top. Both the 32GB and the 64GB versions have the same connections, including an HDMI out, an Ethernet port, and also a power socket. The base of the units are easily scratched, but we don't think that owners will care. We weighed our review samples and found that the 32GB model was 424 grams, while the 64GB one was slightly lighter at 417 grams, but Apple says this is within specifications due to manufacturing variants. To assess whether there's any difference in picture quality between the 32GB and 64GB Apple TV 4K boxes, we plug them into two separate HDMI inputs on a 2017 LG OLED TV. And with the same calibrated settings on the television, the image on screen looked identical when we toggle back and forth from one HDMI input to the other. So that was a waste of a few minutes of your time, wasn't it? It wasted me one day worth of filming, editing, producing, and uploading this video. In a nutshell, you should just get the 32GB version of the Apple TV 4K box because there's no need for the 64GB version. There's no need for the extra storage at all. When you buy a movie from iTunes, it will be streamed anyway. It is not going to be downloaded to your Apple TV 4K box. And if anyone comes up to you and say that you need the storage for playing games, true, some games may actually require this, but let's face it, are you going to really play that many games on the Apple TV 4K box when you have maybe the Xbox One X or the PS4 Pro lying around in your house as well? Those will provide better gaming experience anyway. And storage management implemented by Apple is extremely good on these Apple TV 4K boxes. So it will automatically delete, clear, and remove the cache and everything. So if you buy the 32GB version, I can almost 100% bet that you won't actually run out of storage ever. And if you think that you're going to get the 64GB version anyway because it only costs £20 extra, no one is going to stop you, but I would rather get the 32GB version and then spend the £20 on buying 1 or 2 iTunes movies. So my advice is that you should just get the 32GB version of the Apple TV 4K box. And to make your time worthwhile watching this video, I'm going to give you a number of tips and tricks on how to get the best out of your Apple TV 4K box. In a previous video, I've talked about the importance of setting the match content settings to on for match dynamic range and match frame rate, and you should do that on your Apple TV 4K box. But in my professional opinion, what you should also do is to set your format to 4K SDR, because what this will allow is that your user interface will still be in SDR, which means that generally on most modern televisions you have the headroom to increase the light output or lower the gamma for daytime use. Whereas if you force it to Dolby Vision, then these user interface screens may look too dark during daytime. Normally, clicking the menu button takes you back by one page, but if you long press it, it will bring you straight to the home screen. Double-click the home button to bring up the app switcher, where you can just scroll between the apps. And if you want to close a certain app, you can just scroll upwards. To put the Apple TV 4K box to sleep quickly, just long press the home button. It will provide a prompt and just click on sleep. From the home screen, double-click the menu button to force start the screensaver. The Siri function is extremely helpful if you hold down the microphone button and ask, "Show me movies in Dolby Vision." It will bring out all the movies in Dolby Vision. You can also use the Siri function to go forwards or skip backwards into a movie. So press the microphone button on your remote control and say, "Fast forward 10 minutes." Go backwards 20 minutes. When searching for something, normally it is easier to dictate it by using the microphone button. But if you wish to type it out, for example, passwords or email addresses, you can toggle between capital letters and small letters by pressing the play or pause button. And if you have made some sort of random typo, to quick delete everything, just press the microphone button, which will delete everything because it is expecting you to say something. If you own an iOS device, for example an Apple iPhone or iPad, you can use it as a remote keyboard for your Apple TV 4K box. For this to happen, you need to sign into the same wireless network as your Apple TV 4K box using the same Apple ID, and you also need to turn on Bluetooth on your iOS device. So if you go into any text field on your Apple TV 4K box, a prompt will appear on your iOS device asking you to use it as a remote keyboard. So whatever you type on your iOS device, it will appear on the Apple TV 4K box, which is certainly a much easier way to enter email addresses and passwords. To reduce the power consumption on a self-emissive display like an OLED, go into General, change the UI appearance from light to dark, and as you can see from the power meter, the energy consumption will go down because OLED is self-emissive, and therefore if the picture is brighter, the power consumption will go up correspondingly. If you turn the user interface to a darker shade, then naturally the energy use will go down. Under the settings menu, you may be tempted to turn the settings under the apps submenu. If you go into iTunes, you may be tempted to turn Quick Start off, especially if you have a slow broadband. Don't ever do that. You always need to leave Quick Start on. If you turn it off, what will happen is that for some reason in the iTunes movies, it will cap your maximum output to 1080p SDR. So let's say if we watch Spider-Man, which is in Dolby Vision, so if you turn Quick Start off, you can see from the playback HUD that I've enabled on this Apple TV 4K box that the source file is always going to be in high definition SDR. But if you go back in and turn Quick Start on, then the Apple TV 4K box will be retrieving the highest quality of Dolby Vision in ultra high definition. If you have found this video useful, please click the like button and subscribe to the HDTV Test YouTube channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, maybe in a couple of weeks' time.